I'm the Wolfman. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are going to do a review of the Ontario Knife 499 Pilot Survival Blade. So here we have two of the Ontario 499 blades. This one here was manufactured in 1986. Has all the same features as the different years. So it has a serrated back, oddly enough, that is not designed for cutting through wood. It's designed for cutting through plexiglass in an aircraft. So we have a nice slick blade right there. We have a leather handled sheath. I'm kind of into the leather handle. I really kind of like that. Has the guard here. This has two little holes in it. It's specifically designed for sticking in a so you can like wrap it with a stick if you're so inclined. Has a nice butt on the back, a nice heavy pommel. So this one here, you can see it says right there Ontario, and then it says 1-86. So this one was manufactured in January 1986. This one here is in a Kydex sheath. Of course, Kydex sheath did not come with the blade. This is an aftermarket thing. The blades themselves are identical. And this one, however, if you read it, where is it? Right there. This is made in 1976. So it's about a decade older. But you can see they're about the same. Handles are very similar. The blade design is similar, right? They're a pretty decent blade. There's a few problems that I've noticed with the blades right off the bat. The first one is that, see, that's wiggly right there? So that happens as the blades get older. These parts wiggle. Sometimes the pommel will wiggle. It's the same on this one. So if they're both wiggly, that tells me that that is an issue with the blade itself. So yeah, I guess, you know, there's different ways you could fix that. Some people say that they put epoxy in it. Other people say that they wrap heavy thread in there. I've even seen one guy, he spot welded it. Like, whatever works for you, I guess. But it is annoying. The other thing from a bushcraft point of view, right? This on the back is kind of annoying. If you're going to be doing some fine detailed work and you're going to have your thumb, see how it catches right there? So it reduces your control and your comfort level a little tiny bit if you have that on there. But anyways, let's put the blade to work and see how it actually goes to work and cuts and saws and does stuff. First thing we'll try out, first test, shaving test. See if it shaves. And look at that. Takes the hair right off. Beautiful. Can you see that? Beautiful, beautiful shave on that right there. So I'm pretty happy with that. Look, it shaves it clean off. Does a really great job. Sharp as a razor blade. So that works good. I'm liking that. Just so you're aware, they do still make these knives. Again, this one is over 40 years old. The other one's about 30 years old. People have told me that you can get them even at Walmart, which is kind of cool. Of course, they're the modern day ones, but they are the same knife. They're still made by Ontario Knife Corporation, which is in Ontario County in New York, which is kind of neat. So next test that we're gonna do, this is an ice block. Just nothing fancy, just a block of ice. We're just gonna take it, we're just gonna hack at it, see if it actually does any damage to this blade. If it does damage the blade, that tells me, of course, that there's some damage to the blade, and we can always try another one. Anyway, it always is really cool. It's a cool effect. So let's, you know, let's try to just chop it up. Oh, lots and lots of damage to the block. Look at that. Just chunks and chunks and chunks of ice. Ice chips everywhere. And the blade itself, check it. Perfect. There's no dings, no nicks in it. It's anything you could possibly ever look for in a knife. Now, just to make it interesting, I got a little bit of ice left here, and we got the other knife. So let's put the other knife in here. This is the one from the 1980s, manufactured January 1986. As I expected, totally obliterated that ice block. A couple of hits, I used the spine. No damage to the spine. No damage at all to the blade. Check it right there. Look at that. Spine is in perfect, beautiful condition. The edge itself of the blade, really, really great and beautiful condition. So both knives took a great beating. I was able to shave with these blades. I was able to make shavings with the blades. We were able to do everything that you would normally need to do. Of course, you generally wouldn't be chopping ice with the blade, I guess, but I mean, anything's possible. I live in a northern climate, so I could. So that's about that for these blades. Next thing we're gonna do is baton with the blade. So we're gonna check for our grain. Grain goes this way. Gonna put it through like that. Now, of course, not everybody is into the batoning. It is totally okay if you don't believe in it, or is it not your system or not your style. That's okay, but it is a very fun thing to do. It is kind of hard on the blade though. So these have a very soft Rockwell rating. The reason the military designed these, the US military, as a softer blade is so that if it gets into a bad situation where you're stabbing or prying, you will bend it and not break it. And that's the reason that they have a softer blade. But anyways, so let's try to baton with this. So we're gonna put that right there. We're gonna take our beaten stick right here, and we're just gonna pummel her through, make sure that we don't break it or bust it up, and see how well it does on a piece of wood. So it cuts right through, no problem, right away. And this is kind of it's a harder wood. The only thing I do notice though is with, I believe they call that like a drop point or something like that, with it not having a straight pack at the side, when you baton it and you get to the edge here, you will notice that it doesn't baton as well, and it's going to do more damage to your baton. Not that that really matters. Anyways, let's go on here and do another piece. Really well. Successful test. I like the baton. One of the other standard things you do with the blade is you make shavings. So let's make a bunch of shavings with it, and make sure they're nice and curly. Of course, if you make beautiful curly shavings with little effort, can you see that? See how beautifully curly those are? That tells me that this is nice and sharp, and it's gonna get nice little shavings. Good job, I'm happy with that. Something else a knife should be able to do is to cut. So we got some jute twine here. We're just gonna cut a piece of the jute twine off. Lo and behold, it cuts. Next thing we're gonna do is we'll try to start it with a ferro rod with this and make sure that we get a spark. Now, it is a carbon steel blade, so we should get some good spark. The serrations right there says we're going to probably get a really great spark off of this. It is designed again as a multi-use survival tool for the military. It's designed to be small. You can see it's fairly small. It's you know, only, what is it, like 6 or 8 or 12 inches long overall, right? It's designed for stabbing, for cutting, for gutting fish, for anything that you need in order to survive. It's also designed to last a long, long time, because what would happen is you'd throw this in your pack or on your you know, your load-bearing vest, and it's going to stay there, and you're not going to use it unless you get downed and you're in a survival situation. So yeah, so it's a good knife for that. As you can see, it cuts, it scrapes, it slices, it dices, it does everything that we need to do. Let's check out the next thing is to start some fires. Got our ferro rod, getting some spark. Let's get her lit up. Look at that. No problem at all getting spark off that ferro rod. What a great job. While this guy's still doing his little thing, let's make sure we can get some good spark. Look at that. Great job on that, and it doesn't do any damage to it. As you can see, looks great. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I am the Wolfman. If you're interested in some of my other travel videos and knife reviews and outdoor equipment reviews, I'm going to put that URL right there. There we are. And I want to thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm the Wolfman. Please consider subscribing.